February 8, 1945. Peenemünde, Nazi Germany's most secret weapons facility. A man weighing 38 kilograms is about to steal a bomber. A Heinkel He 11, 2 engines, wingspan of 74 feet, a machine designed for trained pilots with months of instruction. Mikhail Devyatayev has never sat in a Heinkel cockpit, never touched German controls, never read German instruments. He's a Soviet prisoner of war. Number 104534, a walking skeleton in striped rags who hasn't eaten a full meal in 8 months. His arms are so weak he can barely lift them above his shoulders. In exactly 47 minutes, this dying man will climb into the pilot's seat of a Nazi bomber, start both engines, taxi past armed guards, take off from one of the most heavily defended airfields in Germany and fly 300 km across enemy territory while being shot at from the ground in the air. The Heinkel He 111 requires 50 pounds of force to pull back the control column during takeoff. Devyatayev weighs 84 pounds total. He will attempt this escape with 9 other prisoners. Men so starved they've forgotten what strength feels like. Men who know that capture means immediate execution. They have no weapons, no tools, no map, no radio, no training on German aircraft. What they have is one Soviet fighter pilot who refuses to die in a concentration camp. Devyatayev bails out at 2,000 feet. German soldiers are waiting when he lands. They transfer him to a P camp, but Devyatayev can't stop being a pilot. He tries to escape, gets caught, tries again, gets caught again. After his 3rd attempt, the Germans reclassify him. No longer a prisoner of war, now a dangerous subversive. They send him to Sachsenhausen, a Nazi concentration camp. 30,000 prisoners, gas chambers, death rate of 800 per month. Devyatayev arrives in late summer 1944, a decorated fighter pilot reduced to a number 104,534. Prisoners work 12-hour shifts. They receive 700 calories per day. Average survival time is 4 months. You work until your body consumes itself. Then you die. Devyatayev watches men collapse around him. Watches the smoke rise from the crematorium every night. He decides he will not die here. But how do you escape from a Nazi concentration camp? Electrified fences, machine guns, deep in German territory, no papers, no language skills. They need workers at a secret facility, prisoners with technical skills. Devyatayev's volunteers. He has no idea where they're sending him, but anywhere is better than waiting to die. Peenemünde, island of Usedom, Baltic Sea coast. The prisoners arrive at night. In the morning, Devyatayev understands where he is. Rockets rise from the ground like giant bullets. Peenemünde is Nazi Germany's most advanced weapons research center. Devyatayev is now a slave laborer at the airfield, adjacent to the rocket facility. But he notices something else. Airplanes, Heinkel bombers on the tarmac, Messerschmitt fighters taxiing to runways, transport planes landing constantly. Devyatayev watches everything. Flight schedules, which aircraft are fueled, which guards patrol where. Because he's not a slave laborer, he's a fighter. Pilot with 17 kills. Put him in any aircraft and he becomes dangerous. The problem, German planes are different. The Heinkel live-in cockpit has over 100 switches labeled in a language he can't read. His experience is single-engine fighters. The He 111 is a twin-engine bomber. Heavy, complex, unforgiving. But the average prisoner at Peenemünde survives 8 weeks. He's been there for 3. He starts studying. Every work detail becomes reconnaissance. He watches mechanic service engines, watches pilots run pre-flight checks, memorizes movements, matches instrument positions to functions through observation. One aircraft keeps appearing. A Heinkel He 11 with markings Gaia on its fuselage. Always fueled, always ready. It belongs to the deputy commandant. Kept in constant readiness for urgent flights. Devyatayev picks his target. Now he needs a crew. Concentration camp prisoners don't trust easily. Everyone is desperate. Everyone will do anything to survive. The guards deliberately use prisoner informants. Report on escape talk. Get extra food. The system destroys solidarity. Devyatayev needs people he can trust. Absolutely. People strong enough to help. People with nothing left to lose. He starts with even Soviet P former sergeant. Big man. Even after months of starvation, Korolev has already attempted escape twice from other camps. He's been beaten nearly to death both times. He doesn't care anymore. Death from escape or death from exhaustion. At least escape is faster. Through Korolev, Devyatayev recruits others slowly. carefully testing each man with small conversations before revealing anything about the plan. Vladimir Sokolov, tank mechanic captured at Kursk, understands engines might be useful with the Heinkel systems. Mikhail Devyatayev, infantry soldier, small and quick, good for anything requiring stealth. Podorkutin, artillery observer, calm under fire, the kind of man you want beside you when everything goes wrong. One by one, Devyat builds his team. 9 men in total, plus himself. 10 desperate prisoners planning to steal an airplane. The odds are absurd. They have no weapons to overpower guards, no tools to access the aircraft, no detailed knowledge of the airfield's security protocols. Devyatayev's plan relies on one factor. Surprise! No prisoner has ever tried to steal an aircraft. It's considered impossible. The guards don't defend against impossible attacks. They watch for fence cutting, tunnel digging, traditional escape methods. They don't watch the aircraft. The plan is simple in concept, terrifying in execution. Step 1. Eliminate the guard quietly. Take his uniform. Step 2. March the other prisoners across the airfield as a work detail. The man in the guard uniform leads. Normal sight happens every day. Step 3. Reach aircraft gate. Overpower any personnel nearby. Step 4. Get inside. Start engines. Take off before anyone realizes what's happening. Step 5. Fly 300 kilometers east to Soviet lines. Each step can fail fatally. March wrong and they're challenged. Reach the wrong aircraft and it won't start. Get inside too slowly and reinforcements arrive. Fail to start the engines and they're trapped in a metal coffin. Take off wrong and they crash. Fly wrong and they're shot down. 10 steps to freedom. Anyone can mean death for all of them. Devyat explains the odds honestly. They're probably going to die, but they're definitely going to die if they stay. Every man agrees. They set the date. February 8, 1945. February 8, 1945. 11:30 a.m. Light snow falls on Peenemünde. Visibility is low. Perfect cover for what's coming. Devyat's group is assigned to runway maintenance. Standard work detail. 10 prisoners, 1 guard. They've been doing this for weeks. Nothing unusual. The guard is new, young, doesn't know the prisoners' faces, doesn't watch closely. Perfect. They work slowly, gathering tools, moving into position, waiting for the moment. Kriven is the strongest. At 12:15, the guard steps into a drainage ditch to relieve himself. Hidden from the watchtowers, alone with the prisoners for 30 seconds. Kranog moves, a shovel rises, falls. The guard drops without a sound. They strip his uniform quickly. Even Konak puts it on. It doesn't fit right. Too tight across the shoulders, but from a distance in the snow, it will pass. Now they're a work detail with a guard escort. Normal expected. Ganov barks orders in rough German. The other 9 prisoners fall into line. They march toward the airfield, heart pounding, eyes fixed forward. Every step bringing them closer to either freedom or death. The aircraft are 400 meters away. 300 meters. A real guard approaches. Wehrmacht enlisted man, rifle on his shoulder. Devyat's group keeps marching. Konog shouts something unintelligible. The real guard shrugs. Wrong accent. Maybe foreign volunteer. Maybe. There are thousands of non-German personnel at Peenemünde. He lets them pass. 100 meters. Aircraft Gea sits on the tarmac. 2 German mechanics work nearby. Routine maintenance. The engines are cold, but the fuel tanks are full. This is it. The group approaches the aircraft. Kryonog gives a command. The prisoners scatter toward the Heinkel as if assigned to work on it. The mechanics look up confused. They weren't expecting a work detail. Before they can speak, Kuchurin and Yemens are on them. Fists and elbows. The mechanics go down unconscious. Devyatayev runs for the cockpit. The door is unlocked. He climbs inside. The instrument panel stretches before him. 100 controls he's never touched. Labels he can't read. Systems he doesn't understand. He has perhaps 3 minutes before someone notices the fallen mechanics. Mikhail Devyatayev, concentration camp prisoner number 104,534, weighing 38 kilograms, sits down in the pilot seat of a Heinkel He bomber and tries to remember how to fly. The aircraft smells like fuel and leather. German engineering, German precision, every switch in a specific place for a specific reason. Devyatayev has watched Heinkel pilots run pre-flight checks from a distance. He memorized the sequence of hand movements, but memorizing and executing are different things. He finds what he thinks is the fuel primer, pumps it, finds the ignition switches, flips them, Nothing happens. The other prisoners are piling into the aircraft. 9 men crowding into a space designed for 5 crew members. They don't know what's wrong. They just see Devyatayev sitting frozen in the pilot's seat. Start it. Someone hisses. Devyat is missing something. A step in the sequence. Something the German pilots did that he didn't understand. Battery switch. He scans the panel, finds something that might be it, flips it up. The instrument lights flicker on. Now the ignition. The left engine coughs, sputters, catches. The propeller begins to spin. The right engine next. Same sequence. Fuel prime ignite. Both engines running, but they're not out yet. Devyatayev has never taxied a twin-engine aircraft. The steering uses differential braking. Press the left brake to turn left, right brake to turn right. Get it wrong, and you spin in circles. Get it really wrong and you flip the aircraft. He releases the wheel brakes. The Heinkel begins to roll too fast. He's heading toward another parked aircraft. He stamps on the left brake. The bomber lurches, slews sideways, almost tips. The prisoners in the back are thrown against the walls. Someone curses. Devyatayev finds a balance. Gentle corrections let the aircraft find its path. Behind them, someone finally notices what's happening, shouts in German. An alarm begins to sound. They're 500 meters from the runway threshold. 400. A truck appears from behind a hangar. Soldiers in the back racing toward the taxiing bomber. 300 meters in closing. A truck full of armed guards is racing towards the bomber. If they reach it before takeoff, it's over. 200 meters. Devyatayev slams the plane onto the runway, swinging the nose to align with the center line. The truck is only 100 meters behind now. He shoves both throttles all the way forward. The Heinkel bomber, weighing a massive 14,000 kilograms, starts to roll. It needs 400 meters of runway to get airborne, and the pilot needs to pull the control column with 50 pounds of force to lift the nose. But Mikhail Devyatayev weighs only 38 kilograms. He is literally a walking skeleton. He can't do it. The bomber screams down the runway at 140 kilometers per hour. Devyatayev yanks the control column towards his chest, but it won't budge. He's too weak. 8 months of starvation have devoured his own muscles. He simply can't generate the force needed to get the plane off the ground. Behind them, the truck has reached the edge of the runway. Soldiers are leaping out, raising their rifles. If they don't lift off in the next 10 seconds, they'll run out of runway and smash into the perimeter fence. Devyatayev screams for help. Through the chaos, 2 other prisoners, Sokolov and Krivonogov, stumble forward. They grab the control column alongside him. 3 emaciated men, pulling with every last ounce of their will. The column moves, just inches. Bullets start cracking past the cockpit. Someone in the back screams, whether from a hit or just pure terror. It's impossible to tell. The nose finally rises, just slightly, but it's just enough. The wheels leave the ground. At 12:21 p.m. on February 8, 1945, a Heinkel He 111 bomber, carrying 10 escaped concentration camp prisoners, becomes airborne. They climb into the gray, swirling snow, and the airfield falls away below. For a moment, there is silence. Then the Peenemünde air defense batteries open fire. Anti-aircraft rounds burst all around the bomber, black puffs of smoke dotting the sky. Shrapnel pings off the fuselage. Devyatayev throws the aircraft into a sharp banking turn. First west to confuse any pursuers, then north over the Baltic Sea, and finally east towards Soviet lines. The German gunners track them for 2 agonizing minutes before the stolen bomber disappears into the clouds. Inside the aircraft, it's pure chaos. 1 prisoner is wounded, but they have nothing to bandage the wound with. Someone rips a strip from his own striped prison uniform and wraps it tightly around the injury. The bomber shudders and groans. Devyatayev has no idea how badly damaged it is, how much fuel they have, or even exactly where they are. The plane has navigation instruments, but they're all in German, completely useless to him. He has a compass, and that's it. He has to navigate by pure instinct. East. Just keep flying east. The front line is somewhere ahead. The altimeter shows 2,000 meters. The speedometer reads 280 kilometers per hour. The fuel gauge shows something. Maybe half full, maybe less. He can't read the German measurements. They've been airborne for 20 minutes. When the clouds break, they see fields, forests, and roads teeming with German military vehicles. They are still deep in enemy territory, at least 200 kilometers from the front. Devyatayev pushes the throttles forward. Every minute in the air is a minute closer to freedom. 40 minutes into the flight, the fuel needle has dropped significantly. They're burning through their reserves fast. At 50 minutes, smoke begins to trail from the left engine damage from the anti-aircraft fire, finally making itself known. Devyatayev adjusts the fuel mixture, reduces power to the damaged engine, and fights to keep the aircraft balanced. The heavy bomber wants to yaw left, and he has to constantly fight the controls. After an hour in the air, the landscape below begins to change. More shell craters, more burned-out villages. These are the fresh scars of recent combat. They're approaching the front line. And then, the Soviet anti-aircraft batteries see a German bomber flying directly towards their positions. And here's where the story takes a turn so cruel, so absurd, it could only happen in the Soviet Union. As their own countrymen try to shoot them out of the sky, Devyatayev throws the damaged bomber into evasive maneuvers, but it's too heavy, too slow. Bullets rip through the fuselage. Men scream in the back. Then, the left engine explodes. Not metaphorically. Actual flames pour from the cowling and oil sprays across the wing. The engine dies completely. On just one engine, the Heinkel can't maintain altitude. It starts dropping, fast. 1,000 meters above the ground, 600 meters. Devyatayev can see Soviet trenches below, soldiers staring up at the falling bomber. At 300 meters, he has seconds to make a decision. Try to reach a proper airfield and risk the second engine quitting, or crash land right here and hope they survive. He aims for a snow-covered field and pulls back on the controls. The bomber hits the ground like a bomb. The landing gear collapses instantly. The belly scrapes across the frozen earth, tearing metal apart. The propeller disintegrates into deadly shrapnel. The bomber slides for 200 meters, shedding pieces before finally screeching to a halt. Out! Now! They scramble through the exits, falling into the snow, crawling away from the wreckage as fuel drips onto hot metal. Soviet soldiers sprint towards them from the trenches, rifles up, yelling in Russian. Devyatayev stands up. He's a 38-kilogram skeleton in striped prison rags, covered in blood and fuel. He shouts, "Don't shoot! We're Soviet! We escaped from Peenemünde!" A soldier yells back, "Who the hell are you?" "Lieutenant Mikhail Devyatayev, Soviet Air Force," he replies. "We just stole this aircraft from a Nazi rocket base." The soldiers just look at each other. Nobody believes him. Are you spies? Collaborators? Devyatayev told them everything he knew: the layout of the Peenemünde base, the V-2 rockets, the launch sites. His intelligence would eventually prove vital to the Soviet space program. But they didn't thank him. They sent him to a penal military unit, a punishment battalion, still under suspicion of being a traitor. The war ended 3 months later. Devyatayev was released. But they didn't give him his rank back, didn't restore his pilot status, and certainly didn't call him a hero. He went home and disappeared into silence. His incredible story was classified. The Soviet doctrine was simple and brutal. Real soldiers die fighting. Anyone who survived captivity was automatically a suspect. For 12 long years, Mikhail Devyatayev lived as a forgotten man. While the Soviet Union used his intelligence from Peenemünde to build their space program and launch Sputnik, he worked a regular job in total obscurity. Then, in 1957, everything changed. The legendary rocket scientist, Sergei Korolev, the father of the Soviet space program, told the government the truth. He confirmed that this man's impossible escape had provided the crucial intelligence that helped launch the Soviet space race. On August 15, 1957, 12 years after his flight to freedom, Mikhail Devyatayev was finally awarded Hero of the Soviet Union, the nation's highest honor. An honor for an escape his own government had tried to erase. He weighed 38 kilograms when he stole that bomber, flew through a storm of enemy fire, and saved 9 other men, only for his country to treat him like a criminal. Sometimes surviving the war isn't the hardest part. It's surviving what comes after. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, please follow for more.